You can begin.
Okay. So, hello, sir. This is Yamini from Adgully.
Hi, Yamni.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
How's your day going?
It's okay. Something or the other is always there in the news. That,
Okay, great. So, please elaborate on the thought behind the Bits to Million, the Unicorn Story Show, and how are you ensuring the reach and traction for the show?
so, Bits to Billions Unicorn Story is a unique concept, at least as far as news television, general news television is concerned, because we realize that there's this whole startup ecosystem that is thriving. India has just created uh, tens of unicorns. I think at last count, we just recently crossed, I think, the 100 unicorn mark recently. So we realized, at least in the general news ecosystem, there weren't any shows that were reflecting that. The big name startups that are really commanding pioneering valuations, and more than that, they were just putting India on the map, as it were. So we realized that there is a huge space out there. So we reached out to Chandra Shrikant, who's the tech and startup editor of Money Control. She's based out of Bangalore, so she knows most of these startup folks very well. And I think it's an example of old world television meeting the new age digital technology. So you have a show that's created for television. It's a sit back, relax interview kind of a show, bringing you facets of these startup founders who you probably won't read about on Google. Uh, Bringing those facets, which is old world television, and marrying that with the new digital technologies. So if you see, that show is getting traction not just in regular TV viewership, but also many of the smaller clips that we edit out and put out on digital, on Instagram, on Twitter, etc. Those clips are also going viral. So I think it's a great example of a show that we've introduced recently. I think it's about a couple of months since the show went on air, and the response that we've received is quite tremendous.
Okay. So, how will the new broadcasting ecosystem evolve in the days ahead, and what will be the future of TV news in India? Will we see news shifting to the digital side with video on demand formats, like they're gaining prominence? So, will we see that shift?
So, look, as per BARC, which is the agency which monitors television channels, there are still 100 million more homes which are yet to get a television set in India. So that's a lot of people. I mean, 100 million is going to be a third more than the number of households which have TVs right now. So the space for growth in India is huge in terms of even regular broadcast audience. So that is something that we are going to ride on. All television channels are going to ride on, and especially for an English news player, because the lingua franca of communication, whether it's at the workplace, whether it's even for an aspirational country like India, has become English. I think English news will only gain more prominence. But that's on the traditional broadcast side. On the digital side, also, what we're seeing now is most of the TV shows are now populated on YouTube or on Facebook or other social media as smaller clips, and those are also are doing very well. So essentially, we're bringing in newer audiences. At the same time, I think television is also compensating for some of the older audiences we may have lost. So I think it's a complementarity that's coming through, and I think that's something that you're going to see a lot more going forward. You're also going to see from the advertisers' point of view willingness to pay not just for traditional television content, but also a premium for some of that same content that's being consumed on the internet on digital platforms. So you're going to have complementarities there from an advertiser point of view as well. I
Uh,
think you're on mute,
yeah,
Yamini, sorry.
yeah. So, what do you have to say about the mad rush by TV ratings by news channels? Uh, News channels still could onboard advertisers even when the TV news genre was out of BARC ratings. Uh, when BARC ratings return, numerous channels claimed top positions and ratings. So, do you think there should be a separate rating system for the TV news genre, or what?
No, so look, I think we have to be clear about a few things. This is a metric that's used by the industry, whether it's the media companies, whether it's the advertisers, whether it is media planners and so on. And this is a metric that was not invented by the television channels. This was a metric invented by BARC, the industry body. And before BARC, we had TAM. So there have been other agencies that have been doing this as well. Ultimately, I think it's a barometer, it's a metric that's used by advertisers to know how many people they are reaching, right? I want to know I'm reaching X million people for this ad that I've put out on this television channel. So I get the need for a metric. I think there absolutely has to be a metric to measure the number of people who are watching, and and that has to be industry wide. I don't think you can have a separate metric for the news genre and another metric for the entertainment genre. The news genre is anyway much a part of a smaller pie compared to let's say the GECs or the sports channels and so on. So I think there are some, if you want to put it that way, there could be some teething issues, but I think BARC has done well in terms of ironing out some of these problems. And some amount of competition between channels within the genre, I think, is only good because that ultimately, it's the oldest rule in the game that a bit of competition always makes a product better, and ultimately, the consumer is all benefited by a better product. So I think that way, I think it's good that we're having this sort of competition between news channels to put out whatever is the best product available out.
Okay. So, coming back to CNN, how CNN News 18 presents realistic, thought-provoking news without any jingoism and misplaced national pride. What is your vision ahead for CNN News 18 for 2022?
See, we are a distinct channel. We've been in this business for the last 15 years now, and we have always been conscious of the fact that we are a middle of the road channel. We cater to neither left nor right. In fact, I keep telling the newsroom this all the time. We're one of the few channels in the country where every political party sends their representatives. We have representatives from BJP, from Congress, Aam Aadmi Party, regional parties, you name it. They all come on our channel. No political party has boycotted us. So I think that is something that reflects the fact that we are a fair channel. We give all sides adequate amount of time. If you look at some of the debates that we do, it's not like the shouting matches that you see on some of the other channels. We believe in, like I said, giving every person and every political shade or hue its adequate say, its due say, and ultimately we also believe that the viewers are smart enough to decide where they stand on a particular issue. We are not the channel that believes that the anchor's view is more important than the view of the panelists who are coming there to debate. Ultimately, the viewer is smart enough to decide where he or she stands on an issue, and we leave that judgment to them. I don't think CNN News 18 is in the business of playing judge, jury, and executioner like some other channel anchors play, because I don't think that's a model of television that we believe in or that we subscribe to. And therefore we are presenting a different product, a unique product, a product which, given the numbers that we've seen over the last few weeks, our viewers are also affirming that. They're also liking what they see on the channel. That's why more and more people are watching us. And I think that's a philosophy that we're going to stick through. We're going to stick by all through. As far as the rest of 2022 is concerned, look, we've always been the go-to channel for big events, whether it is breaking news or whether it is planned events like elections and things like that. So I think we've got a couple of things lined up. We've got the Gujarat elections, we've got the Himachal Pradesh elections coming up. So that's going to be a big one. We also have the T20 World Cup that's coming up. So that's again going to be a big one for us. So we try to, what CNN News 18 is good at is covering the big story. Whether it is, in the form of breaking news, that's something that happens immediately because we have, regional channels in about 20 odd 20 odd states. We have, network 18 reporters across the country. We have about 1,200 reporters across the country. So we are able to reach, locations the fastest of any other competition or rival network can. So we leverage that strength. And yet at the same time, we also bring in very, very sharp analysis through our anchors, through some of our signed up, contractor guests, as well as, of course, regular spokespersons that political parties send. So I think our USP going forward would be to cover the big stories, whether it's breaking news or whether it's planned events, and do them in a way that, and at a scale that no other network can match.
Okay. So, how do you make sure that CNN News 18 marketing campaigns reflect the mood of the nation while also demonstrating a sense of responsibility towards the society?
If you look at all our big marketing campaigns, whether it's Mission Pani, Sanjeevani, Period of Pride, These were all things that people were talking about, but it was not finding itself avenue on mainstream media. So if you look at Mission Pani, for example, when we started this in 2018-19, people were talking about the water problem, but it would be for a couple of months in the summer. They would talk about the water problem, then people would forget it and move on. But we made it a topic of national conversation, so much so that when Mr. Modi's government came back in 2019, he formed a separate ministry for drinking water, and that's now one of the said main missions for Modi 2.0 to bring drinking water. And Mission Pani, I believe, has played a small role in that. When we took up Sanjeevani, the campaign to vaccine, nobody was talking about vaccines at that time. Vaccines were not available at that time. But we took it up on a mission mode, and we ensured that the remotest corners of the country there is awareness about the vaccine. Because remember, there was a lot of negative news and a lot of rumors that were spread about the vaccine. So we played a role in somehow mitigating some of those rumors and quashing some of those rumors about the vaccine. So we played a role in spreading awareness to the deepest corners of India. We've gone with Anganwadi workers, nurses, paramedic staff, and so on, in Mission Pani trucks and jeeps. Sorry, in Sanjeevani trucks and jeeps that were going throughout the length and breadth of the country. So that's again a campaign that we're very, very proud of. Again, period of pride. We've really, really, invested in this campaign. We've gone out there, petitioned the Education Ministry to talk about, making awareness about periods and making that part of the curriculum for CBSE schools and so on. So if you look at all of our campaigns, they are socially driven. It is what people are talking about. It doesn't find resonance on mainstream media, and we pick it up, and almost immediately there is always a connection, and almost always government action also follows, whether it's Mission Pani or Sanjeevani. So I think some of those campaigns have also given us a very, very distinct edge.
That's it. That was all. Thank you so much for answering all my queries, and it was lovely having you.
All right. Thank you. I mean, if there's anything
Yeah.
else, just reach out to Mohit or
Sure.
somebody in the team,
And
and we'll.
thanks, Shashank and Mohit, for
Thank
arranging
you,
this.
Yamni.
Of course. Yamini, it's always a pleasure. And I hope you've gotten all your answers from the very best
Um,
from the
yes.
channel. And Chief, thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, no worries,
I'll,
Mohit. No.
I'll be
Thank you.
messaging you in some more time again. I'll be bugging
Okay,
you some
sure,
more. So yeah,
sure.
that's that. All right.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
Thank you.
all.